Welcome to the channel, and if this is your first time coming across this channel, please do where to hit the subscribe button and don't forget to turn on the post notification. Okay, let's go straight. So I'll be explaining how I was able to make over $350 within 3 days just trading on a Bitcoin. So I made over $350 trading just BTC alone within 3 days. So let's go straight into it. So here we're on the chart 4 hours time frame, and I'm going to explain how I was able to make cool $350 in just 3 days trading just Bitcoin alone. Okay, so looking at the 4 hours chart, first we'll get to mark our order block. So if you look at this, we have our order block on this chart sitting here. So having a 4 hours order block, this was my expectation on the 4 hours time frame. So we had this move. This is an inducement. That's what Bitcoin created when it came very close to this order block. A market was reacted to the upside. So without wasting your time, let me just go straight into the 1 hour so you get to understand the price action and how I was able to catch that particular setup that made me over $350 in 3 days. Okay, so let's head over to the 1 hour. So here we are on the 1 hour time frame. This is Bitcoin on the 1 hour time frame. And looking at this chart, what can we see? We're looking at what? The most recent structures. So before now, this was like the previous high we had on Bitcoin. This was the previous high. And what? This was what? The previous low. The last protected what? Low on Bitcoin. We had what? This move and this leg of price towards the upside, which gave us what? The final break of structure sitting here. After we had this break of structure, remember, this was the last low I was expecting the market to actually what? Take out to give me a confirmation telling me that what? I now have what? A change of character at this point. So this low was taken out. After this low was taken out, I had what? A change of character. After having my change of character, this other low was taken out, confirming that what? The market is bearish. This gave us what? A break of structure to the downside. After I had that break of structure, I was expecting what? Price to come back into this zone. Price didn't get into this zone, and what? Market continued to the downside. So what can we see? We had this low again that was taken out, giving us what? Another break of structure to the downside. Again, market was still what? Pushing to the downside. We had this sweep of liquidity, and this was where we had our what? Break of structure to the downside. After having this break of structure, don't forget, what was our target? Our target was us expecting price to rally back all the way to this demand zone we marked on 4 hours. Let me zoom in the chart so we get to have a precise entry on the 1 hour. Okay, so still the same thing on the 1 hour time frame. So having that break of structure, we had this what? This low again that was what? Taken out before what? And this was on Friday. We had this price coming down all the way to this point before we had what? This liquidity sweep. We had this liquidity sweep sitting here. And don't forget, this is the zone we're expecting what? Price to actually come back into. This was how we had our liquidity sweep. So this, having this low, tells you that what? Liquidity is still what? Resting at this point. Having this tells you that what? liquidity is still resting at this low, and what we have this target that we're expecting price to come back into. So what was the trade idea? Looking at the price action to the downside, you can see that what price has been moving all the way to the downside. I had this liquidity sitting here. This was my liquidity. I had this high, and what I had another what liquidity sitting here. What was I looking at for? If you look at this point to this point, from here all the way to this point, that was one leg of price. That was one leg of price. So what was I expecting? I was expecting price to come back into what this supply sitting here. I was expecting price to come back into this supply. This high should be taken out because what that has my liquidity. I have my liquidity sitting there. I also have what another liquidity what sitting at this point. It was a very tricky one. It was a very tricky one because what if you don't look closely at the price, you will end up marking this point because what this is where we have what our fair value gap and what we have the momentum. But looking at the fact that this high wasn't able to take out this low properly, and this was where the momentum came in, I consider this point as what my liquidity, and this is where the other block was sitting. If you drag this price all the way to this point, and what I placed my sell entry right here, and my stop loss was sitting a little bit below, sorry, a little bit above this high. Yes, because I know the trade came very close to my stop loss, but because of what the space I use, I normally don't use what a very tight stop loss. I'm always using what I normally give breathing space to my stop loss because what I know that what sometimes market can actually what come out to maybe sweep liquidity above the highs or above the lows. So I always consider that particular point while placing what my stop loss. Okay, so looking at this trade, my target was at the what last low. My target was sitting at this last low, I think thereabout or before year. I think something like this. So this was my target. And what? Price rallied into this point on the Friday after the news was released by 1:30 or about 3 p.m. And what price tagged into my entry, if you see the price pushed very close to my stop loss and what retraced down, and what by Monday around what 7 a.m. or about 8 a.m. this was already what a take profit. So you can see that it was a very simple trade, nothing much. It was just a simple idea of what understanding what market structure, knowing that what the market is bearish, and what understanding the liquidity concept. Now, when a lot of persons saw, let me take out this. When a lot of persons saw this impulsive move to the upside, they all thought what this was what a change of character to the upside, and what a lot of persons were thinking of buying from this point. But if you've been actually been joining my live sections or watching videos on my channel, you'll see that what I've explained how to actually what take trades from zones like this, or how to mark a right order block. So before marking this as your order block, you should know that what when you have an order block right below or above the current order block you're marking, there's a tendency that this order block is an inducement. Don't forget, this is an inducement. So coupled with the fact that this market was Bitcoin was on what a bearish trend. Bitcoin was on a bearish trend, and we have this order block here, which we are expecting price to come back into. There is no how you actually want to take a buy order from this point. Don't forget, you can't trade from this type of zone because what this is what an inducement. This is an inducement, and if you looked at it from the start, I already marked this point as what? My liquidity, which tells you that what? I'm expecting the price to rally into this zone and for me to see what? Possible move to the upside. And what did you see? Immediately price came into this zone. You notice what? There was a quick rejection, meaning what? This is a valid zone. And assuming I was able to take a trade from this zone using market entry, I'll be able to secure another 1:3 from this particular push to the upside before what? This crash to the downside we are having now. So always what? Learn how to make use of your market structure and what? Liquidity. They are very, 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 very important because what? Liquidity helps you to liquidity helps to tell you what the next point the market should be pushing to, or where you should put your take profit or your stop loss. So I hope you got value from this lesson. Do well to what? Share, leave a comment below, and lastly, like this video. And don't forget to what? Join my free Telegram community where I do share my trade ideas, my setups, and my buyers, market update, and what have you. So see you in the next one. Bye for now. Thank you.